This is a pet cat, and this is a robot vac. A match made in heaven. Or is it? Let's see if the Eufy RoboVac X8 Hybrid is worth your money. Goedendag, we're DHRME, drones hunting random morons exclusively. Okay, we can't keep you in suspense for too long. We never thought we'd ever need a robot vacuum cleaner, but it's like a dishwasher or a microwave or noise-canceling headphones. Once you've got one, you can't live without it.
I don't agree.
Perfect. Let's agree to diss and praise the RoboVac X8 Hybrid.
The X8 Hybrid was a breeze to set up. Install the charging docking station up against a wall and drop the RoboVac onto it. Well, not literally, it's a lot of things, but definitely not protected against drops. Anyway, download the Eufy app, it'll recognize the RoboVac and ask to connect to your Wi-Fi. This helps you to remote control it when you're away from home and also to integrate it with voice assistants. You know, for when you're not only lazy to vacuum clean, but also to turn on the RoboVac by lifting a finger to press a button. First world problems, but more on the voice assistants later. After that, you can let it rip. The RoboVac, of course. You do that by hitting play in the app or pressing on the power button. The first time it'll struggle more since it needs to make itself at home with your floor plan. For around 23 square meters of floor space, it took around 30 minutes to clean, and the following runs took 25 minutes. Most of that extra 5 minutes is spent bumping into your furniture and walls like a drunk person. And what we've noticed is that even though it looks like it gets stuck on chair legs, it can maneuver around on its own. If not, it'll ask for help. It helps that the X8 has a bunch of navigation features on board. First and foremost, it's got LiDAR, which uses light and lasers, which helps it to map out your floor plan, navigate around obstacles, and position itself so that it misses less spots. And that isn't all. It's got an infrared sensor up at the front, as well as a couple of drop sensors on the bottom. We know that fear of expensive tech falling down the stairs is definitely real. So we're happy that these sensors can prevent that from happening without having to use no-go strips or other preventative measures. Speaking of strips, yes, you can use those boundary strips and it will work with the X8.
Anyone watched Robot Wars on TV before?
Still going.
Well, you'll get excited when you see the underside of the RoboVac. It's got a rotating wheel and two bigger height-adjustable wheels. So if it ever were to get stuck on something, there's a good chance it'll be able to get unstuck on its own because of those wheels. The bumper helps absorb any impact against walls or objects, and the RoboVac will then maneuver its way around it. You can operate the RoboVac using the 3 physical buttons, either start cleaning the whole place the RoboVac where you want and it'll spot clean that area, or you can press the recharge button and it'll make its way back to the docking station. Let's not review the RoboVac in a hardware vacuum. So let's talk about the Eufy Home app. It's pretty extensive but easy to use at the same time. The first thing you'll see is the map of your floor. And yes, you can have it map multiple floors too, or even multiple locations. You know, if you happen to take your RoboVac with you on vacation, you germaphobe.
What?
On the map, you can see where the docking station is and when the RoboVac is running. You can also see its path and where it's already cleaned.
You also get the ability to manage your map by splitting up the floor into different rooms like the living room, bedroom, or bathroom. You can also add any no-go zones using the app or boundary strips if you don't want the RoboVac to go there. The app worked really well. One thing to note is that if you move the docking station to another spot, you'll need to place the RoboVac on it yourself, else it won't find its way home and will think it's on a new floor and will start mapping it again before it finds its new docking station location. Below the map, you'll see the option to select different vacuuming options. Auto means it'll do the whole floor. Room is for room. Zone cleaning means you can make an area selection on the map and have it clean that part. And finally, there's spot cleaning, where you can drop a pin somewhere on the map where you might have made a mess and have it go clean around that spot. What's interesting is that for the room cleaning option, you can have it do the cleaning program twice if you want by hitting the 2x button. For zone and spot, you could even do it as much as 3x. That's a serious mess or serious technology trust issues if you need to go over it 3 times. The reason we're surprised is because the RoboVac did an excellent job at cleaning the first time around. The dust collector is quite spacious, and the kicker is that the dust is compressed to take up less space. It could easily clean the 25 square meters 2 or 3 times before it needed to be emptied.
If you have a preference for how hard it should suck depending on how dirty you are, then you've got the suction button. Standard setting is pure and it's the least powerful one. In our opinion, this has been fine to clean general dust and dirt. But for you hardcore suckers, you've got power, turbo, and max. Here, have a look at how they suck and sound. But above all, we like that they have the Boost IQ option, and that works really well. When it notices it's on carpet, it'll increase its suction power and reduce it when on a hard floor. That's our favorite setting. Set it and forget it. But if you have a lot of carpet in your home, then we can imagine why you'd leave it on a more powerful setting by default instead of having RoboVac boost its IQ for it.
I love carpet.
And if you're tired of the RoboVac, you can pause the cleaning or hit the charge button and send it home to the docking station. Speaking of the docking station, the battery life on the X8 has been awesome. The app doesn't show you an exact percentage, but we've always had more than enough left. But if you, unlike us Europeans, live in supersized homes, then the X8 is smart enough to go home mid-clean to charge itself and resume from where it left off. The RoboVac is on board with polygamous relationships and doesn't mind providing its sucking services to multiple people. This means you can share access by simply adding an email address. That person just needs to access the Eufy Home app with that email and voila, he or she can see and operate the RoboVac like you can. And if you want to share the RoboVac with imaginary people, then you can. It has Alexa and Google Assistant integration. No Siri, I'm afraid. We've tried it with Google and it works like a charm. You can have it start or stop cleaning, go home to its docking station, or have it find your RoboVac in case it's stuck under a couch somewhere or your cat decides to sleep on it.
Let's go through a couple of other interesting settings in the app. To start with, you can add a schedule. So you could have it clean your living room overnight while you sleep or during the day when you're out. You have tap and go, which means you can tap somewhere on the map and it will go and clean there. Not really sure how this is different to spot cleaning, to be honest, so we never found ourselves using this. If you're in the Robot Wars mood, you can override the RoboVac and take over using manual controls. Kind of fun actually, but Eufy suggests you leave it on auto for accurate cleaning. Makes sense. I was always terrible at vacuum cleaning and remote controlled cars anyway. Moving on, you can also see your cleaning history too. Yeah, I think you know what that means. And if you've had a rough night and don't want to be woken up by getting your room sucked, well, then you've got a do not disturb mode, which you can set between 2 times. You can also adjust the volume of the RoboVac's mouth and also choose out a few different languages that it can speak. And finally, you've got something called accessory services, which is quite nifty. By way of a percentage, it will tell you how much time is left on the different parts before they need to be replaced. In addition, it also gives you clear instructions on how to replace it and a link to the Eufy store to purchase them.
Luckily, you get a few extras in the box. You get an extra dust filter and a side rotating brush. But what you don't get in the box but can be purchased separately are those boundary strips we mentioned earlier. Our experience has been fine with setting up no-go zones in the app, but if you want a more hardware-based solution, then the strips could be an option to consider. Now, since this is the X8 Hybrid and not the X8, it differentiates itself on one feature, mopping. And for that, you get a mop water tank, a washable cloth, a couple of disposable washing cloths, and a waterproof pad to place under your docking station. The mopping feature is easier to use than we thought. You dampen the cloth and fill the tank. snap it under the RoboVac and start cleaning. It'll vacuum and mop at the same time. When you're done, you remove the mopping add-on from the RoboVac.
So what did we not like about the RoboVac X8 Hybrid? First, the mop. You pay extra for it and it feels like a useful feature to have, but after using it, it felt like a mop. I mean, it does mop, as in you see the floor get wet behind it, but it barely cleaned any of the stains or spots on the floor. You also need to remove any carpets or rugs since it will mop over those, or you can set up no mop zones in the app too. So save your money and just get the normal X8. Second, and this applies to robot vacuum cleaners in general, there's quite a bit of preparation involved if you have a lot of things lying around on the floor. If you have a little person running around the house who doesn't respect your personal boundaries, you can be sure they're not going to respect the RoboVac's boundaries. It's very easy to sabotage this thing with fragile objects like a speaker stand's base, other small objects, or even cables and chargers, or else they could get damaged or stuck in the robot. So although the whole schedule and asking your voice assistant to clean your home sounds cool, in reality, for those of you with messy kids or just messy adults, or both, this will need quite some work to get it up and running.
And third, the RoboVac can't climb walls and tables, so you'll still need a HoboVac to clean higher surfaces. So spending a couple of $100s on the RoboVac makes your life easier, but doesn't complete your life.
This is not just a tech product you plug in and start using. You need to really be ready for it. Well, it'll suck anyway, but else it'll suck in a very sucky way, which sucking is not very
Well, there you have it, guys. Our first take on a robot vacuum cleaner. Did it suck or did it excite you? Let us know what you think. You've been watching a robot vacuum cleaner personified, and we've been DHRME. Namaste.